Call the public session back to order at 7:04. If the city attorney will go ahead and report any actions from closed session, please.
Thank you. There was no reportable action.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance from Councilmember Bash, and then remain standing for our invocation today from Pastor Kyle Fegan.
As it was mentioned, I'm Pastor Kyle Fagan with Beacon Hill. Grateful for this opportunity. Go ahead and bow your heads with me. Father God, we just come before you today and just thank you for this time in this meeting. Lord God, I pray that you guide and direct every decision that needs to be made during this meeting. Lord God, I pray there would be wisdom shared and you would just be with every decision. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, at this time, we're going to move into our council reports on regional boards. We'll be starting with Councilmember Bash.
So I sit on a whole bunch of boards. The two really important ones at the moment is the WRCOG Advocacy and Legislative Committee, and a couple of things came up in that's very interesting. You may remember SB 79, which is the around a transit center, you would be able to build a 7-story apartment complex. Mr. Weiner feels that it's not enough because many of the counties are saying that it doesn't apply to them, and Mr. Weiner feels it applies to everyone. So he's going to be making adjustments to that particular SB 79, which means my understanding is he's talking about things like bus stops. In other words, within a half mile or whatever the radius was, you can build a 7-story apartment complex, and it doesn't go before planning and it doesn't go before city council, and residents have no say whatsoever. The other one that's very interesting, excuse me. The other thing is that we had talked about, we have a lot of ADUs in the city of Norco that are not legal, and it's very expensive to transition them into legal ADUs. So one of the things they're looking into, because the topic has been brought up, to maybe give somebody 5 to 10 years to layer in and legalize their ADU, but you get credit for it up front. So like right now, I've gone as high as 600 illegal ADUs, housing units in the city of Norco. That literally, our arena numbers are 402, or which we're required to do, whatever it is, 450. Literally overnight, we could be in compliance. So anyway, WRCOG is taking that on, and so I think those are two. One's not good news. We keep hoping Mr. Weiner will term out and run for Congress. But I didn't say that, Bonnie. But anyway, and then the advocacy. Then the next one is I chair for the state of California, I chair the Rural and Small Cities Information Committee. And it's really interesting because part of the reason they won't allow us to be part of the California State Board is because they're beginning to realize there's more, like for example, let's say you take 10 major cities in the state of California, Los Angeles, Oakland, Sacramento, San Diego. In total, you've got 60, maybe 60 councilmen. I have 260 cities. 6 times or 5 times or 8 times or 9 times. We have a lot of council members, and one of the things that's really coming through in these meetings is Democrat, Republican, left, right, center, doesn't matter. They're pissed about the housing. They're pissed about Scott Weiner. They're pissed about the fact they can't get services, and they're pissed about the fact that the large cities are getting an undue share of the money that's coming down simply because they're a big city. They're also tired of things being voted in one size fits all. They all have something unique about their community. So one of the things that we're doing as an exercise is, what is it that your residents want you to protect? And so they're actually really exciting, exciting meetings. I don't know where it's going to go, but even just some of the things I learned. For example, one of the questions I had to Lisette is like Los Alamitos. It's a very small city, 4 square miles. 2 miles, no wait, well anyway, half of the city is the Los Alamitos Air Base. But they include that in the arena numbers, but they can't build anything on it. So what I'd like to know is, are we being dinged for public buildings, the school district, this building, the Navy base, the prison? I mean, that's a lot. That's actually almost as big as Los Alamitos. But just things like that. The other thing is the National League of Cities. I'm going to look more into it, but we may want to join that simply because they have their pulse on a lot of money that's being sent down into the cities. For example, $50 billion is being distributed into small rural cities for medical facilities. And nobody knows how to access it. But the National League of Cities, apparently they've already got this whole system that's going and that kind of thing. And then lastly, and I'll send out a little report on this, the staff seems to be, Cal City seems to really be behind this. They're actually creating, I kind of got this idea from Matt, they're actually creating a way for all of the small cities to communicate, to be able to talk back and forth. And when we first started this, Ted Hoffman and I, many years ago, one of the frustrating things was we'd have to sort of get somebody's email, but this way we literally can have this incredible amount of communication, which I hope will help us to eventually get a seat on the state board, because that's really important. The reason they don't want us there, and I said this before, is because they realize that we could become as powerful as the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission, or the Coastal Committee, is super powerful. But there's just a lot of things, and I have a lot of hope for this. I think it's going to be a really, I have a lot of hope. As you know, a couple years ago, I wanted to leave Cal Cities just because I felt they weren't doing anything. But I think that I'm amazed at the power. Northern California, Southern California, Central California. I'm really amazed at how similar. I mean, water. We don't really have the medical problems. Some do, but we can't get doctors in Riverside County. The housing thing. I mean, it didn't matter what side of the fence they were on. They're angry at that. So, anyway, that's all I have. Again, I think it's. I'm really honored that I'm sitting in this chair seat. I don't know how it happened, but anyway, I think it's going to get some good stuff out of it. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Sullivan.
Yes, on January 8th, I attended the RTA board meeting. And just a couple things to note about that. RTA, they are hiring bus drivers. You can go on their website and they're hiring a lot. So I think it was maybe 50 bus drivers, so that's good. And on New Year's Eve, they did 4,218 free rides for New Year's Eve. Don't know if everybody needed that, but nevertheless, there was a lot of free rides for New Year's Eve. And on January 14th at the, oh, I'm sorry, I got my dates. No, let's see. January 8th was the TNOW meeting. January 14th was my budget and finance meeting. So at the TNOW meeting, ridership is up, and youth ride free through the end of this year on all fixed route and go micro buses. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Newton.
Thank you, Mayor. January 8th, attended the Chino Board of Directors meeting for the Chino Basin Desalter Authority. Basically, we just went over different construction contracts, professional services agreements, and we had election of officers. We don't change our chairmanship. We're supposed to rotate, but Peter Rogers from Chino Hills remains as president, and I remain vice chair for another year. So nobody wants to take the job, I think, is the way it works. So that's all I have to report. Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Bowen.
Yeah, last Thursday, we elected to have a new chair, which is Nancy Hernandez. And it was, she's going to be very good for the seat. And also, February 2nd, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Palm Springs, they're having a convention for mosquito convention. And believe it or not, they're wanting me to go to it, so I haven't decided yet. But other than that, we did our elections, and that's about all we had at it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I have nothing to report at this time. So we will move on to item number 2, which is our public comments. At this time, I'm going to ask the city clerk if there are any public comments.
Madam Mayor, we have 3 speakers. This is a time when persons wishing to address the presiding governmental body regarding the consent calendar, legislative matters, or items within the subject matters jurisdiction of the legislative body. Please submit a speaker card to the meeting clerk. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. The Ralph Brown Act limits the governmental body's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at the time such comments are made. The governmental body shall not discuss or act relative to any general public comment. First speaker is Philip West.
Good evening. My name is Philip West. I live at 2356 Hillside Avenue. My name is Philip West, and I live at 2356 Hillside Avenue. I currently have sent emails to pretty much everyone in the city. I've been currently having a problem with the sewer lateral at my house. The city requirements when I built the house in 2005 and 2006 was to come PVC out to the property line and then attach to the clay pipe. Excuse me. And since there was a tree in the front of my house that the city literally took out at one time, I'm not sure of the date, but it was actually done with several down the street because they were interfering with the sewer laterals. Excuse me. In 2018, the city has a video showing the clay pipes on the city side, excuse me, with separation and deviations in the piping. And as of several years, I've actually had to keep having the sewer lateral snaked out and jetted. I actually had it jetted back in 2018, and the city actually paid a claim that I actually submitted. I know that because I got a 1099 from the city that's showing the money that they've refunded to me of $300. Actually, on Thanksgiving of this year, last year, I had a blockage again and tried to get it snaked out again, and it wouldn't clear. They had to jet it out this time, and the cost of $1,250. They jetted it to the point where it could get a little bit of a flow, but there are several deviations in the piping. Lots of roots are in the line, so they can't clear it. And so in the pictures I've submitted from my fence line, the center right where the sewer comes through the property into the horse trail is sagging and starting to fall. So I think that's a little bit of a safety issue for the horses. But, excuse me, it's actually a little bit of an issue because I keep having to have it done. And as of right now, the city lateral is down about 13 feet. and I received a letter basically back from Public Works that stated that any costs that I would have incurred to submit a claim. Well, as far as of right now, I've had estimates of $20,000 to $30,000 to fix this problem, which would have to be take the clay pipes out, replace it with PVC out to the street. So,
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Gabriel Morantini?
Hi, I'm Gabriel Mortini. I've been a resident of the city of Norco for 50 years. And I'm here to speak about the e-bikes. I don't know if you guys brought it up before. This is my first time at a meeting. So the e-bike situation that I'm here to speak about is we have a lot of kids right now that are using e-bikes in a very unsafe way in the city of Norco. Just the other day, I was going down Crestview, and there was like 7 of them blocking both lanes of traffic and not letting cars pass, and they thought it was a funny thing to do. So, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You know, you just have to wait for them to move. They're at our city parks constantly in groups of up to 20 and 30 at a time, and they're blocking, you know, like at Pikes Peak. A lot of times we have a lot of walkers up there and a lot of older walkers up there. And these kids are running their bikes, doing wheelies and stuff. The last time I seen it, they were actually on the playground where the kids were, going in and out of the playground. That's not cool. Stater Brothers, it's been on, there's websites. We have the Norco Neighbors Watch and the Norco's Pike Peaks Neighborhood Watch. And both websites have had these kids, they got pictures of them. And they're in the Stater Brothers over off of Hidden Valley, off of Corydon, by Corydon, the new one, going in, actually drove their bike into the Stater Brothers and then around in the parking lot, causing trouble. That was on one of those websites. I just wanted to bring attention to it because I think we need to put some kind of code enforcement to involve it. I mean, there's other cities that have already done it. Ukaipa's done it. They just passed a city ordinance so where there's going to be a $2,000 fine for kids that are riding on streets. The other thing is, I just don't want our city to be known as the USA e-bike city it's the USA horse city. You know, that's what we're here about. And then when you see these kids going on the horse trails on the bikes and stuff like that too, it's just kind of crazy. So I just think that we should maybe put that to our attention and have, especially for the safety of the kids that are on the bikes. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen them without helmets and stuff, and they're riding these bikes that go 40 miles an hour. And I just don't think that our officers have a way of handling it because they go up, they go up to talk to them, and they all just disperse and go in different directions, and they got helmets on, you can't recognize them or anything like that. So when they do recognize them, they probably have to find them through the school district or whatever. I don't know how they do it, but when they do, they have to have some kind of ordinance to follow with it. You know, that's a city ordinance. So I just hope we would put something together like that. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for your comments.
Jennifer South?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Jennifer South. I'm a disabled, service-connected vet 911 vet. I've been a resident of Norco since 2012. I decided to become a backyard chicken coop mama to basically do animal therapy. And ever since I've done that, I have run into nothing but problems with your code enforcement. Now, I'm here to respectfully request that the city council review and clarify the setback requirements for structures used to house fowl, including backyard chicken coops. At the present time, there's no reliable, clear, published information on the city's website. It actually directs you to the state of California's website. And I'm here to tell you that the state of California's rules on fowl differ from the city of Norco's, okay? And when a resident is trying in good faith to do the right thing and properly permit and or build in this city, and you're sent to a different website, given different information, and then your code enforcement comes back and tries to fine me. It's resulted in over $10,000 of fines and penance on my home in order to own chickens in a rural community in the city of Norco by a disabled veteran, okay? This is not right. This is wrong. I had code enforcement come to my home, tell me they wanted to work it out with me. I let them in my home. I let them see everything. I gave them every information possible. I own 2 chicken coops. They're under 120 square feet. No permit required, according to the City of Norco website, okay? According to the state of California, they have to be 20 feet from every opening of a door of a residence in the state of California. So my neighbors, myself, everybody included, can't be near somebody's door. The only location in my backyard to house these chickens safely and protected from their predators is in the location that it's at, and it's against my back wall. My neighbor that actually meets the back wall gave code enforcement permission for a reduction in offset. Code enforcement went to the city manager and went to their boss and told them that they had permission from the neighbor, that I was willing to pay a permit fee if that's what you required. And the city manager said, absolutely not. Now let me also tell you, not one resident has actually complained about my chicken coop. Some government official who apparently is no longer employed here drove by and decided to write me up. This is actual entrapment, okay? When you give me one set of rules, I follow them, and then you turn around and fine me for a different set. I'm asking that you review the foul structure. I'm asking that you bring it to an agenda at the city council for review and for a flexibility provision that allows a reduction in offset between 2 neighbors with written consent, as long as city offsets are still complied. That's all I'm asking. We'll comply with the city offset on the city line, but my neighbor is giving permission. I don't understand. Nobody's complaining. I don't understand why this is actually causing such a problem here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So, and then if you would, Ms. South, if you would make sure maybe check in with Lizette right here before you leave and get her card so we can make contact with you. Thank you. That concludes public comments, correct?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
All right, perfect. We are going to go on to agenda item number 3, which is our consent calendar. So are there any items that council members wish to be pulled from consent?
3C.
Okay. Mr. Newton, 3C.
Yes.
C.
Councilmember Sullivan, did you have another one?
Yes, no.
3C. Okay. Anybody else?
3C was saved for me.
All right. Looks like 3C is our winner for this evening. I'll entertain a motion to approve the rest.
Motion to approve the rest.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the remaining consent calendar items. We'll go ahead and take that to a vote.
Madam Mayor, bear with me. Are you able to see the votes there? Are you able to vote? No.
Not yet. If not, we can take a voice vote. You're comfortable with that?
It's probably best. That way we can move forward, if that's okay with you, Madam Mayor?
Absolutely.
Okay. Councilmember Sullivan? Councilmember Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen? Mayor Grunmayer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, perfect. So then we're going to go to item number 4, which is our pulled items. There are 3 of you that have pulled item 3C. Councilmember Newton, do you want to go ahead and start? We'll just go down the line.
Thank you, Mayor. The first is just I want to make a staff report correction on item 3C. On the January 21st on the staff report correction. Just make a notation on who the staff report is from and prepared by. And then going into the Planning Commission January 14th meeting, their item is was item 4B. That's the specific item that I would like to address that is under 3C, okay? So 4B was an accessory building use permit on 4077 Temescal Avenue. One commission member had to abstain, and the vote was for approval, 3-1. The vice chairman was the no vote on that. So going through this item, I received a couple of phone calls, and I'm having difficulty with, in the findings, it's finding B. The requested accessory building use permit will not have an adverse effect on the public convenience or general welfare of persons residing or working in the neighborhood thereof, and will not adversely affect adjoining land uses, including runoff and drainage impacts. So the first item that the commission addressed was the amount of concrete that's on this property.
So, Councilmember Newton, it might, at this point, the appropriate action would be to appeal. If
Okay, well, that's where I was getting to, but I was going to make the basis of my appeal on the findings.
It's probably a better idea for us to notice the applicant so that the applicant can hear the entire discussion.
Oh,
rather than
absolutely.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm just going to, I disagree with the finding B, notice to appeal.
Okay. Is there a second?
Is there, I'll second it.
Okay, so
Okay.
been moved and seconded by Councilmember Newton to appeal the item 4B from Planning Commission. Thea, was that the same item? Okay. Oh, a different item. Okay. So with that, any other discussion? Perfect. We'll go ahead and vote. Voice vote. Do you just want to do voice votes the rest of the evening?
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
Mayor.
Let's do it.
Thank you. Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilmember Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Boyd? Mayor Grandmayer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. So then we'll move to Councilmember Sullivan.
Okay, this is in regards to their item 4C, which is the approval of the graphic element on the wireless telecommunications. It looks like a water tower. So one of the, after watching the meeting and really reading everything, I'm kind of having issues with what was in the actual recommendation, because in the recommendation, it also included coordinated lighting. However, there was no lighting proposed or anything like that. So in the actual recommendation, they approved something that has not been submitted.
So then I'm going to defer to planning for clarification on that.
My understanding, that was discussed at Planning Commission, and there is no proposed lighting up to that level. So I would need to look into that and find out why the lighting is not included. There was reference in the staff report, as you know, regarding lighting on that. And I don't have the conditions of approval in front of me, so I can't refer to that at this time.
Right. Erica, she had mentioned at the meeting that the photometrics, nothing had been submitted. That's why I didn't understand why that part was included in the recommendation when it's not even there.
It's a good point. We can go back and look at that condition.
Okay, and there was one commissioner that was a no on this.
So is staff follow-up with you good on that, or and just have that into the record, or?
If it's a code requirement, we can implement it without amending the conditions of approval. If it requires amending the conditions of approval, we'll need to go back to commission.
Well, I know what our choices are. I'm asking what the council member would like to do.
I would suggest to appeal it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appeal the graphic element on the wireless telecommunications facility.
Under discussion, Mayor?
Yes.
If staff would look at that report under the lighting, it is addressed under condition number 3 of the resolution, and that the applicant must submit a photometric lighting plan to the Planning Division for review and approval prior to installation.
That would be part of the the building permit process. So we don't typically receive a photometric plan during the entitlement process. And this is not really an entitlement, it was simply a clearance of a condition of approval for the graphic element.
And Mayor, if I may add, this is something that council approved previously. Is that correct?
Correct. All right, so we have a vote on an appeal. So if you'll call for the vote, please.
So clarification, so few you still want to look at this?
Well, I guess I just still don't understand why it was in the actual recommendation. I don't understand how they can recommend something that hasn't been submitted yet. So
If I may, Councilmember, the action was simply to clear a condition that requires a graphic element. So all that was being approved by the commission was the graphic itself. There's a separate condition regarding lighting, so that there's no lighting proposed. So they're simply giving us the artwork to approve. And the artwork was approved by the Planning Commission, but because we have a condition of approval requiring lighting, that'll come later during the building process.
okay, yes, the artwork is fantastic, but it literally states in the recommendation in here, coordinated lighting on it. So I don't know, maybe it shouldn't have been in there, possibly. So that's where I was just kind of hung up on.
See,
So,
Probably should not have been in the motion, if I had to guess.
right, yeah.
So do you want to keep your motion? Given
Well-
that they will have to do the lighting?
Well, they do have to do it, but I mean, I don't know how to unwind a recommendation. It just seems like maybe the verbiage in there shouldn't have been in there.
Yeah.
So,
If I may.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly from the planning meeting, there was a separate condition regarding the lighting, specifically that they needed to submit, I don't know if the official planning name for that type of lighting. And so that was brought up in the conversation, that where is that? And so because this item was only to clear the one condition of the graphic element, they were bringing up other conditions at this. So I believe that was added so that they don't forget about that other condition. That was not part of this, but it is part of the original conditions of approval, was my understanding.
okay. So I guess I will just get over that these words should not have been in the recommendation, because they do have to submit their photometric plan, so.
Rescinding your motion? Okay.
Right. So then that motion has been rescinded. So now we're going to go on. Councilmember Vash, you had also pulled 3C.
No, actually, I pulled the one that Greg
So
discussed.
your item in
Yeah, it was Greg,
was
sorry.
the same. Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the remaining minutes or action, recap of actions from the Planning Commission meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We'll call for a vote.
Councilmember Sullivan? Councilmember Newton? Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen?
Yes.
Mayor Grunmeyer?
Yes.
Passes.
Perfect, thank you. So we are going to go to item number 5, which is our public hearings. So I'm going to call upon the city clerk to read our order of presentations, please.
Order of presentation for public hearing items. Number 1, staff report presentation. Number 2, council questions of staff. Number 3, open public hearing. Public comment. Number 4, closed public hearing. Number 5, council discussion and action.
All right, thank you very much. So we are looking at item 5A, which is the first reading of ordinance number 1138, a zone code amendment. And so with this one, I will be calling on our interim planning or community development director.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Year 2025 has been a banner year for housing legislation. We've been at the end of a fire hose, so to speak, and unfortunately, as a city, we need to comply with state law, and a large number of the laws that have passed in 2025 pertain to ADUs, as you know, council member, and therefore, Alma Robles and our city attorney have been working on an amendment to comply with the various laws, as well as HCD comments on our first iteration. And I'll move to the background and give you some context of why we're doing this and where we're going. As you know, the government code requires us as a city to permit accessory dwelling units and on lots with proposed or existing primary residences. The laws must be consistent with state ADU law, and that's where we're going with this amendment. And any locally adopted ADU regulations need to be submitted to the State Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, for review and comment. And the last amendment cycle, the city did submit them to HCD for comment. And that's where we ended up with a somewhat controversial situation. Although our ADU ordinance was amended several times, the last amendment in 2025 was sent to HCD, and HCD sent a comment letter, which is included in your packet. The comment letter had several concerns, requested some modifications to our ordinance, and the city responded and disputed some of the findings and comments, which primarily, most of the comments have been incorporated, and most of them were clarifying comments to ask us to clarify in our ordinance what is permitted and what is not, and where we need to defer to the city. I'm sorry, to the state legislation. The amendment that were before you commits us to amend our ordinance, which is necessitated primarily by 2 state laws that were adopted, Senate Bill 543 and Assembly Bill 1154. And other edits were included to add clarity and consistency with the state ADU law. Getting to the HCD comments, they primarily centered on clarifying exceptions to city standards. State ADU law states that the city must waive compliance with certain development standards if it would preclude at least an 800 square foot accessory dwelling unit with a 4-foot side and rear yard setback. So we cannot apply all of our own development standards if they meet this minimum. In its response to the city's draft ordinance, the city committed to this amendment with some exceptions. If an ADU qualifies as a state exempt ADU, then the city can only require compliance with development standards in state law and not with development standards in the city's ordinance, as I mentioned. For single-family properties, state law requires the city to allow up to 3 ADUs on one lot. One junior ADU, that's within the confines of the unit itself, within the house itself. One detached ADU, new construction only, and one attached ADU within the existing space of the home. Now to the HCD comments, they demanded that our ordinance, the city's ordinance, contains certain provisions that had certain provisions that they wanted removed, primarily relating to the preservation of animal keeping. However, the city disagreed and continues to disagree with those demands as they were inconsistent with state law and the HCD ADU handbook. Findings have been included in the ordinance. I call your attention to the first page of the ordinance, which includes the finding specifically stating why the city will not comply with the animal keeping request. Fundamentally, it appeared that the state wanted us to allow ADUs within our primary animal keeping areas, which we do not believe is required by state law or the HCD's manual. The biggest change to the city ADU ordinance is the addition of an application processing timelines and procedures, which is not that burdensome. So the focus is on administration of the ADU ordinance. And SB 543 added a requirement that local agencies determine the application to be complete within 15 days of receipt, which we are currently complying with. And it also provides that the applicant has a right to appeal a determination of incompleteness or denial of an ADU. In addition, as required by Senate Bill 543, the maximum square footages for ADUs have been updated, and they are also defined as the maximum interior livable space. Before this, it was the actual size of the ADU as measured from the exterior walls, and now it includes the now it simply refers to the interior space. And as required by state law, owner occupancy will no longer be required for a junior ADU if it has its own sanitation facilities, indoor bathroom, separate indoor bathroom. The other clarifying additions include definitions for attached and detached, definitions that were in state law that were missing from the city's ordinance, and specifically the maximum size of an ADU has been decreased from 1,200 square feet to 850 square feet, and that's for a studio or one bedroom, or 1,000 square feet for 2+ bedrooms. This is permitted by state law. Finally, the amendments will increase the number of detached ADUs permitted on a lot within existing multifamily residences, again, apartment or condo complexes, from 2 to 8, and adding a new subsection regarding the legalization of unpermitted ADUs that we have several, as Councilman Member mentioned, that are unpermitted or in current code enforcement cases. The Planning Commission reviewed this and did approve it. They had several comments and questions which have been addressed in the staff report, and therefore staff is recommending that your city council conduct the first reading, approve it, and conduct the first reading of the ordinance. And that concludes my presentation, and staff would be happy to answer any questions, and the city attorney is also here if you have legal concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. With that, we'll start. Councilmember Bash, do you have any questions of staff?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen, do you have any questions of staff? Councilmember Sullivan, any questions of staff? Councilmember Newton, any questions of staff?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple, please. On the junior ADUs, it's no more than 500 square feet of interior livable space within a single-family residence, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so in the summary of amendments, we have stated the detached ADU, which would be new construction, not to exceed 800 square feet. But in the staff report, I believe it said 850 to 1,000 square feet.
That is correct. Our ordinance I'm checking the ordinance right now. Excuse me for the delay.
So that would be on, in the staff, does it have a page? Doesn't have a page number.
Yes, I think there is an inconsistency, which you're correct, because the city has some leeway, and that's what I'm trying to determine right now, is whether we are defaulting simply to state law or expanding the maximum to
All right,
850.
well, in the staff report, maximum size of a detached ADU is decreased from 1,200 square feet to 850 square feet for a
Yes.
one bedroom, or 1,000 square feet for two bedrooms.
Correct.
And it lists the section of the state ADU law. So is it,
850 square feet.
okay, so
Correct, and that's what we placed on the ordinance on the,
up to 1,000 square feet.
correct. So it's 850 of interior for an ADU up to one bedroom, and 1,000 square feet for two or more bedrooms.
Okay. So on this handout we have, do I draw a line through not to exceed 800 square feet?
Correct, 850.
I'm scratching out the 800 square feet in this handout we have then. It's between 850 and 1,000 for a detached unit.
That's correct.
Okay. Then the attached ADU portion within the, and that is, it's not new construction like a room addition. My question is the attached ADU is within the house or the accessory building? Or is it attached like to the exterior of a house, like you were building a room addition?
It's five, you're talking about the junior or attached ADU?
Once again, in the handout, it's, I'm past the junior, so it states, and one attached ADU within the existing space of the home or accessory structure on the lot. And my question is, it says attached ADU.
Yes.
Is that also allowed to attach to the exterior of the house?
Yes, it's to the exterior of the house. It can share a common wall. As long as attached means it shares a common wall with the house.
Okay. Well, this says within the existing space of the home or accessory structure.
I think you're referring to junior ADUs.
Garages, bedrooms.
Junior ADUs within the existing single-family residence.
Well, if I'm reading the summary of amendments, it's, somebody want to jump in there? I'm seeing two different things here.
What I'm seeing is on the ordinance at page 118, which is the portion that includes the track changes. It has attached accessory dwelling unit means an ADU that is attached to or located within a proposed or existing primary dwelling, or attached to or located within an existing accessory structure. So it looks like the definitions say it could be attached to either the primary dwelling or an accessory structure.
Right, okay. And what's the limit on that square footage-wise?
That would be the same for ADUs, so it would be the 850, 1,000. It would not fall into the 500 for JDUs.
Okay, so I can take my house, I can attach a 1,000 square foot ADU to the house, share a common wall, right? Then I can build a freestanding one.
Yes,
Right next, up to 1,000 square feet,
at least 10 feet away.
at least 10 feet away.
And put one in your garage.
Of 500 feet or less,
Right,
that would be a JADU.
correct. Okay,
And you no longer have to live in the house, correct?
that's correct.
If it has its own sanitary facility.
Okay. Colin, would a detached garage be the same as an accessory structure?
Yes,
So I could have a choice, right, on that?
as
If I
far
want to
as-
convert my RV storage or my detached garage,
correct.
okay? I can get one of those. All right. Mayor, that's all the questions I have for now.
All right, thank you very much. I have two questions. The first one is, it talks about legalizing the unpermitted ADUs, and it talks about not being able to charge impact fees and all of that in the ordinance. And I know we're talking about our governmental organization. Does this law apply to our neighbors in this building as well? For our school impact fees, because our experience has been that people want to legalize, but the school impact fees are so high that they do not go through the process. So does this law apply to the school district as well?
Clarified that.
I'd have to follow up on that.
If you can let me know on that. And then the second question that I had, we're redoing this ordinance. It needs to be submitted to HCD again, correct?
Correct.
So let's say we submit it to HCD again and they kick it back and say, no, your guys' arguments for why you're not going to change the things are not adequate, but we're citing their own language. What would be the process or next steps on that?
So HCD can't force us to do anything. What they can do is they can forward it to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General could file a writ to try to get the decision reversed, and then we would have to reconsider it. But we've complied with what we're required to do as far as HCD is concerned. We take their comments very seriously. We've made a number of changes. We disagree with them on the PACA. The law says that we can have objective standards, including standards for lot coverage. A PACA is part of lot coverage. So if they disagree, they can forward it to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General can decide whether it's a case worth pursuing, whether they agree with HCD's position or whether they agree with our position. We're not in a place where we're saying we're not going to allow ADUs. We're actively requiring zoning for ADUs. We are just an animal-keeping community, and we're trying to protect both, and we can do that.
Okay, yeah, no, and I agree with you, and I like that you cited page and number and all of that as far as their policy and all of that. So I just wanted to make sure we understood that. So at this time, we have gone through all of our questions. So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, y'all had your chance. Closing public comment and bringing it back to council for discussion and action. Councilmember Newton, anything?
Yes,
And Mayor, I'd like just a little bit of latitude, but okay, we'll see, and if not, I can bring it under general comments, or under council comments. Colin, actually, it's another question, just to verify. Accessory buildings, swimming pools, outbuildings, whatever, those are all discretionary approvals.
Correct.
Okay. And where we have gotten bitten in this game is that somebody comes in for an accessory building. Anything that has a discretionary approval, we require either it has a PACA or you have to have an animal keeping area, correct?
Yes.
And this would be further discussion, that why don't we try to take some initiative and protect, as we try to protect animal keeping in our animal keeping areas that are being challenged, why don't we try to protect the ADU areas? So if you want to come in to build an accessory building, okay, that's discretionary, you have to allow X amount of square, you can't have more than 40% coverage, you have to allow area for animal keeping, and you have to allow a certain open space for either a detached or attached ADU, and also a 1,000 square foot freestanding ADU. And then that would dictate the size of your accessory building, your swimming pool, make the shopping list on that. And I think that might work. It would be something that planning staff, planning commission would need to go over, but I think on going forward, because we're always behind the 8 ball on this, and if you look at a certain property that we're all aware of, it was new construction, came in, wanted a garage, we approved the garage, came in, wanted an accessory building, and then took it to HCD when we said you can't build your ADU here because of animal keeping, and we got the middle finger on the animal keeping. So something I think I can bring that back under council comments.
So to clarify, you basically want to encumber the whole property with the state required things and our required things to dictate like our discretionary sizes on accessory buildings
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah, not encumber the entire property.
No, the 40%, but I'm saying all the legally what we have to
Right.
allow kind of a thing. So you're mapping
And
it
that's
out
what I
ahead of
meant by
time.
the area that we go to protect for animal keeping.
Right.
Here's the area to protect for the ADUs, which we have no say in the matter, right? Colin, is that viable, that as long as I give you 1,000 square feet on this property to build your ADU?
Yeah, it sounds defensible. HCD will come back and say a person needs to be able to put an ADU wherever they want, and cities can have no limits, but I don't think they have a good policy argument on that.
Mm-hmm.
Actively zoning for them, we're thinking ahead, we're being
Right.
proactive, we're providing housing. I think that's a good argument to take.
Okay. That's all I have right now. Mayor, thanks.
Councilmember
I was
Sullivan?
percolating the idea.
No, I like it. I like it. Councilmember Sullivan?
You like what Councilmember Newton was just talking about. That is actually a really good proactive thing. So overall, nobody likes much of this, but the good news is that the size of the larger ADUs has gone down a little bit. And that's really all the silver lining I can find in this. So I'm done with my comments right now.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen?
One question. When we do that, I like the idea of being able to preserve our PACA. But can we go ahead and because I was noticing that they have a 4-foot, our setbacks are 5 foot. Now, if we go ahead and say, okay, along with this, you got to keep a 5-foot set, how much flack we going to get from the state?
The ADU law is pretty clear about setbacks, so we do need to comply with what the ADU law says on setbacks. I don't think we can push it back to our additional 5-foot setback.
Okay.
Greg and I tried with Senator Roth, who, yeah, we tried and we got a lot of rigmarole and, oh, it's too late, and gee, I wish you would have talked to me sooner, and yeah, I suspect they didn't even read the bill. I thought we handled the school district. I think that, I'm pretty certain that that's over, because we went to Kelly Ciarto and we went to Billy Asali, and I think that got clarified.
I know the discussion came up, I remember it, I just can't remember what the conclusion was, so I'd have to check and see how we completed that.
Yeah. What's so bothersome about this is nobody knows it's happening. Nobody spoke. Nobody actually understands the rights that are being stripped away from them. I mean, everybody, they literally, the way they're getting around single-family neighborhoods is they are putting 4 houses on every lot. And so it's very, and when they do that, it doesn't even come before planning. It doesn't come before city council. And normally when you build a project of any magnitude in a neighborhood, letters are sent. I think we send them 600 feet outside. They don't care. And right now, I mean, just along with this, I mean, SB 9 and 10, and there's some really draconian things that are if it wasn't for our historic overlay and our landmark district, you could conceivably have multiple housing right next door to you. And it just literally, they go to the front counter, they say, I want to build this. And they can put in, you know, all kinds of housing in a lot of other cities. And everybody is saying no to this. But the state legislature just keeps, if you say anything, you're either, and just frankly, you're either a racist, or you are against housing, or you're not in my backyard. I had a discussion with the Rural Committee where they talked about, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Jan Harbaugh, she was the former head of the Cal Cities, and she just flat out told me 10 years ago, they do not like half-acre parcels. They do not want you to live on these large lots. So it's a really difficult situation. So you kind of know where I feel about that. We don't have a choice. We have to pass this. I'm glad we're standing up for our PACAs. Are trailers legal? Because one of the things I'm noticing right now is a lot of people are on Saturdays moving trailers onto the backs of their properties.
Commercial trailers, not RVs?
They're living in them. My understanding is that that's no longer legal, that you have to build the ADU.
I'd have to check and see what our specific
Yeah,
city
can we
law is
find
on
out
that.
about that?
I can.
And I guess I'll close with, you know, Eastvale 6 years ago was voted one of the top cities to live in the United States. And if you drive into Eastvale now at night, because one of the really lovely things about all these ADUs is you don't have to provide parking. So they're all parking on the street. And one of the new bills that's coming at us is that a lot of cities have ordinances saying, well, you can't park in your front yard, you can't park in your grass. Guess what's going to be stripped away? The other thing that's happening is that when they sell off, you can actually sell off the ADU in most cities, not Norco right now so far, we're fighting it. You sell it off, so now you have 2 different owners on that property, and you actually have 4 families living on that one property. And they're now suggesting that you create CC&Rs because they start fighting. And they're actually talking about putting that into the code. So it's, and Norco's always been a target to developers, and that's the really sad thing is the people that are getting rich over this are developers. They're the ones that are buying these and creating those kind of things. So, anyway, I guess I'll make a motion to approve this after the mayor has her comments. But
Yeah, just real quick, I only have two things, very quickly. Number one, if we can have an update from staff on how much money's left in the amnesty program for legalizing ADUs from when we did that a while back. And then with, once we get the answer on the school side of impact fees, if they're under the same jurisdiction as this particular legislation, I would like to see the city of Norco do outreach again to see if we can get some more folks to legalize if they're not going to have to pay those super high school fees as well. I think that will help us with our RENA numbers, like Kevin said before. So just those two things, probably more of a staff follow-up than anything else.
just so the audience knows, RENA numbers, it's Regional Housing, can't remember what the acronym stands for. We're required to build a certain amount of housing or prepare to build a certain amount of housing in the city of Norco, and I guess it's 450 houses. And if we don't do it, then we run the risk that they will force us to build in Norco. And a great example of what we were forced to do is the apartments at the corner of 3rd and Hamner. We fought it for 4 years. And ultimately, it just came down to, as the developer told me, he said, just tell people that the state of California screwed you, and I capitalized on it. That's a quote. So.
All right, Councilmember, do you want to go ahead and,
Yep, I make a motion to approve.
is there a second?
Do we need to make sure that the 850, 800?
It's in the actual printed
Well,
ordinance.
I just had
Yes, sir.
another comment.
Yeah.
It was just on, just a clarification for the mayor pro tem. Somewhere here, Greg, in setbacks with accessory to an ADU, it's still 10 feet. But the 4 feet like from PL, but under setbacks, I just saw something that said you can, if it's not an ADU, it still has, it could be 10 feet on that.
I do have a question on that. So the backyard trails, one of the things that happened, and I do believe it's incorrect. What happened is it's, in other words, what that means is my setback, if I do build something in the front, should be from the middle of my street. So what started to happen is ADUs were being built 2 feet from the property line because they were claiming that they had to go to the middle of the backyard trail. That is incorrect. That is not correct. That is an easement, just like any other easement. The property line is the property line, and that's an easement that they gave up. But I want to make sure that legally we clarify that, because you literally have ADUs now right up against the back fence because the erroneous claim that you had to go from the middle of the trail. That is not correct. And unfortunately, I had to go outside. Well, I had to go get another legal opinion to find out about that. And it wasn't you. You weren't around when that was all going down.
Is there a second? A second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the first reading. Colin, you get to go.
Thank you. The ordinance number 1138, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Norco, California, approving Zone Code Amendment 2025-02, a city-initiated amendment to Title 18, Section 1830-46, accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units, updating, clarifying the provisions related to accessory dwelling units ADUs and junior accessory dwelling units JADUs to comply with state law.
Thank you. We will now call for our vote.
Councilmember Sullivan? Yes. Councilmember Newton?
I wish I had the ability to vote no on this. My vote has to be yes.
Councilmember Bash?
Ditto, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Boyd? Mayor Grunmayer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 6, City Council and Staff Communications. So I will start with city staff. Anybody over here? No? 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 Okay. City Attorney.
Mayor, thank you.
City Manager. Public Safety. Anybody in the back? No? All right, very good. City Council. Councilmember Newton.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question, comment on this last item on 5A. I'd like, with my colleagues' concurrence, ask the city manager to move forward with community development, planning commission, to discuss and look at the item I referred to in 5A about looking at a dedicated area for ADUs when we're presented with discretionary approvals.
Council
that-
good with that?
Yeah, so
That-
like it means like if you're gonna build a pool,
Right.
you'll come back and say, okay, you're gonna build a pool, but you also have to make sure there's room for your ADU.
And your animals.
So as they apply for stuff.
Right. So you have your free and clear access to your animal keeping area, which is, whether it's a deed restricted or not, right? And whatever little areas have to be set aside for ADUs, then take your setbacks, and your pool can go over here, and you may have limitations in the size of it, or you may not. But it's anything with a discretionary approval, whether it's a swimming pool or storage RV. Planning started to get into that direction, and along with council, when we took that 1,000 square foot plus the 400 square foot, and then reduced that to 1,000 square feet.
Got it.
So I think we have some groundwork, but that's what, like I said, I was just percolating the idea. And I don't know if it's a motion, it's just a,
Consideration,
pardon?
items for future consideration.
Yes.
Well, but I'd like future not to be 6 months from now.
Okay, so is there a second?
Like on the to-do list,
Okay,
set for
so
tomorrow.
it's been moved and seconded to, an item for future consideration is looking at discretionary approvals as compared to all the legal requirements of what we have to have on a property, including ours. We'll call for the vote.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilmember Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Bash? Mayor Pro Tem Bowen? Yes. Mayor Grunmeyer?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. What else do you have, Councilmember Newton?
Just a pleasure to be up here, Robin. Thank you.
I'm not trying to be smart mouth with you. I'm just trying to get the meeting moving. Okay, Councilmember Sullivan. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Bowen.
Yeah, on the money, like what Robin, if you could get with me, like on the forgiveness program for the ADUs and for the school fees, I'd be curious to find out about that. And then going back to the 5A, Vandenberg up there, the one we had last year, was a perfect example. He put it right in the middle of his driveway. And it messes up the whole lot. And as soon as you mentioned that, that lot popped up in my head. So I'm behind that 100%. And it's like trying to get ahead of something that it's steamrolling, snowball down the hill, and it's scary. And people say they want Norco to stay Norco, but we're fighting. I mean, just sitting here beside these other four, watching the battle that they do is just, I'm just proud to be up here with them. So thank you. That's it.
Councilmember Bash.
Very, very quickly, Mayor Kozel, it's a lot different nowadays, isn't it? Back in the old days when you were the mayor and a councilman, a lot harder, do you think? Yeah, a lot more complicated. He was back, what, 70 years ago? Sam, what's the status on my walls on Hamner? You have an invoice?
Well, so I have, we are waiting for approval by WRCOG.
Okay.
Once WRCOG has approved that, I can go ahead and bring forth to you guys the engineering proposal for the wall. and then go from there.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's very
We'll
exciting.
spend that money.
And thank you to my colleagues for allowing me to go to the Cal Cities Conference the next 2 days. I sit on the Housing Committee and I sit on the Tax and Rev Committees. Hopefully we can make some difference. The housing one, I always come out, all my hair's pulled out because it drives me nuts. But Tax and Rev, there is some movement in terms of a fair distribution of Amazon, Walmart funding like that. There's some movement happening there. So I'll give you a full report when I get back. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Perfect. I do not have anything this evening. I would like to adjourn the meeting in honor of Denise Sutherland this evening. We lost her last week. She was the treasurer for the Norco, Lake Norconian Club Foundation for several years and also the treasurer for Norco Fair. Very big tasks for both of those. Wonderful volunteer at a lot of city events. I enjoyed her sense of humor and was always very happy and very animated, which I appreciated. And then those of you that worked the fair, different things, she was, I will lovingly call her the lunch lady. She made sure that all the volunteers and workers had lunch. And it wasn't just bringing you lunch. She would take specific orders for the different local eateries and then make sure everybody got exactly what they wanted. Just an all-around wonderful person. So this evening, we will adjourn in her honor. If we can have a moment of silence, please. And we are adjourned. Thank you for being here this evening. Have a wonderful